Welcome to the I Can Do Anything podcast, and I just recorded a full episode on the built-in microphone in my laptop, and it sounded like shit, but I'm back because I can do anything, so I'm going to record another full episode. And the first thing that I want to talk about is a player that, well, I used to talk quite a bit about, a player that I really loved back in his heyday and still really love to see do well. So it was really fun to see Derrick Rose play really well over the weekend. Dob and I kind of breezed past this. I don't even know if we mentioned it, but I kind of thought about it afterwards. He's played on Friday night. They played the Cavaliers, and Derrick Rose had a great game. He played really well in the second quarter in two really important spots in the second quarter, and then I can't remember if it was early fourth quarter. It was down the stretch, but he really looks to have his flow back, kind of. He doesn't seem to be forcing threes too often, which is really still just a not good part of his game. You know, I've always been critical of John Wall, and those guys, as they get older, and as Derrick is inevitably not what he was in Chicago anymore, they're really similar. Their games are just pretty much attack and not much of a jump shot. But what I like about Derrick Rose is his humbleness and just his demeanor, a lot more than John Wall's. But Friday against the Cavs, I thought played really well in transition. In 23 minutes, he had 12 points and shot 3 of 6 from the field, but had 8 assists. Took a 3 and missed it, but it's just really good to see Derrick Rose playing well. And then on Saturday, played even better. Had 28 points in 32 minutes off the bench, shot 52% from the field, was 2 of 5 from 3, 5 assists and 5 rebounds. He played better than a majority of the starters. He played better than Wiggins. He played better than Josh Okogie, who I don't know who that is. Who are you, Josh Okogie? You must be a rookie. Yeah, 6'4", 212 from Georgia Tech. That's probably why, because I doubt I've ever watched a Georgia Tech game in the last couple of years, and he more than likely didn't stay in college all 4 years, because that is definitely the trend these days. But Derrick Rose played really well in a lot of minutes off the bench. So that's really, really exciting. There was a game on Sunday night, the Denver Nuggets and the Warriors, in which the Nuggets beat the Warriors. The Warriors are actually 3-0 atop the West right now, but there was a play in particular that I think really illustrates what I've been preaching about the instant replay and how it needs to be fixed. If the replay was done my way on this play, well, it's not my way. Baseball does it for the most part. But I think the way that the baseball thing could be improved and how the NBA should do it is that the referee team should have a lead guy that is either in Secaucus in the replay center watching, in charge of that game and watching all the different replays, or is in the arena, and there's really just no way, if he's in the arena, for him to be able to see all the different replays at once in an efficient way. He would really have to be in Secaucus, but he has a headset that he's talking to maybe just the lead ref or maybe the entire reffing crew, so that when Gary Harris fouls Kevin Durant going towards the basket, and it's clearly a foul from the one angle that I saw it from when I saw it after the game on Bleacher Report, because I didn't catch the majority of that game. I just saw it in spurts. But I saw this one play where Gary Harris clearly, he knew he fouled him, and it was pretty obvious. I mean, it was point blank obvious on the one video replay that I saw. And obviously the guy that reviews the replays isn't going to see, he's not always going to get the best angle on the first replay that he looks at, the first angle that he sees. But Kevin Durant got a technical for arguing the call afterwards, and in that time that he was arguing, the guy that was watching the replay could have very easily through 10 seconds, gone through 3 or 4 different video angles, and then clearly identified that, oh yeah, that was a foul. So instead of calling it Denver ball out on Kevin Durant, you would see that it was a foul, and instead of you take the technical away because he was clearly right about the call, and then you send him to the free throw line rather than sending Denver back up the floor the other way, because it's out of bounds either way. So you use about the same amount of time instead of going to the scores table to report the technical foul. You just flip it around and let's play. I mean, there's just so much time and I get that it's an entertainment thing, but I think that because it's an entertainment thing, the game should just be sped up, and they just waste a lot of unnecessary time, and it slows down the game. I hate to give the Warriors any extra advantages, but the game should be faster. It should be faster, and there's so much time wasted on replays. That's just one example specifically that I can think of off the top of my head, and I'll continue to point examples out because it's really hard to explain a scenario, just like a made-up scenario kind of. But I feel like I see a lot of scenarios, especially with like the clear path stuff. It takes so long to see if it's a clear path. One guy sees 3 angles and makes a decision, and then let's play. I guess the justification for watching the replay so many times is because they want to get the call right. But if you want to get the call right, why are we choosing only certain calls that can be right? I don't get why you can't just easily reverse a foul or a non-foul call if it clearly was or wasn't a foul. It can happen so quickly. Now, obviously, if the play continues, it's got to be only on dead ball stuff. You can't have a foul that isn't called and then have the other team going back up the floor. Or maybe you can. Maybe you blow it dead and say, after 5 seconds after the other team has gone up the floor, and even if they're in transition still, or if they've backed it out, like the guy voices in, hey, that was pretty clearly a foul, and then you blow it dead and you send the guy to the free throw line and you take the additional time off of the clock. You figure that whole thing out while he's shooting free throws in 15 seconds or whatever it is. So it's a really nitpicky thing, and it's probably very low on the NBA's priority list. But I assume that as the season goes on, just in any season, as the season goes on, the play and the games become more and more important. As a fan, I think it's something that's important to me. Obviously, I'm talking about it right now, but I doubt the league makes much of an adjustment to it. I just don't think. I think the replay center is more for the broadcast, for the viewers, and it's less geared towards the actual game. Whereas I would prefer that you just gear it towards the actual game so that I can enjoy the basketball game. I don't want to see a guy in Secaucus telling me just giving me, like, running me through the rules. Just make the call and let's move on. But there were 2 overtime games last night. I don't know how it's taken me this long to talk about the overtime games last night. What else? Wait, I feel like I missed a couple other things. Trae Young played really, really well on Sunday night. I feel like I would be remiss if I didn't mention how well Trae Young played. It was just really fun to watch him kind of pick apart the Cavs. That's the other thing, is it was the Cavs. George Hill's a good point guard, but he really, as a rookie, that's a really impressive performance. And I got a thing from Bleacher Report after the game that in the last 20 years, him, Steph Curry, and LeBron are the only people to put up that type of stat line. So Trae Young is going to continue to be really exciting to watch, I think. But all right, let's talk about the overtime between the Lakers and the Spurs. This was a really great game. With the exception of the Lakers' poor shooting in the first quarter, I mean, a really back and forth, great game to watch. Lonzo Ball and Kyle Kuzma played great off the bench. Those are two guys that, as rookies last year, started a majority of the games and played really, really well last night off the bench or as starters, and shot the ball really well. Kuzma had 37 points in 45 minutes, was 4 of 10 from 3, shot 60% from the field. Lonzo Ball was 3 of 7, 42% from 3, and 5 of 9, 55% from the field with 14 points in 32 minutes. So those, I think, the Lakers are 0-3 now, but I think that there's a lot of really positive things to draw from their performances. I think that the games that they've lost, because they're all Western Conference teams, the Trailblazers, the Rockets, and the Spurs, I think they're going to be really important down the stretch because those are all teams that are probably going to be in the top 5 of the West. They're all playoff teams for sure. Maybe the Trailblazers probably aren't top 5 in the West, but they're all playoff teams in the West. And those 3 losses could be really important come the end of the season. But I think there's a lot of really positive things to draw from. Josh Hart played well off the bench, really well off the bench, 20 points. 8 of 14 from the field and 4 of 7 from 3. Michael Beasley played a couple minutes. Lance Stevenson continues to be really positive in the second quarter and played late in the game as well. 8 points in 17 minutes, shot 50% from the field, knocked down a 3, and only had 1 rebound. But I think he's important because he's just got to come in and shoot the ball and be himself. He broke up the initial fight between Ingram and, he just kind of got Ingram out of the ref's face, but Stevenson seems to be relatively cooled down. I think it's the LeBron effect. Once you start playing with LeBron, you're like, okay, you kind of just put your tail between your legs and you sort of buy in. LeBron played really well though. Got the young guys involved early. Had 14 assists and 32 points. Shot 44% from the field, but only 2 of 8 from 3. His 3-point shot has not been very good to start the season, and that's something I think will come. Shot the ball really well from 3 last year. I think that'll come as the season continues. But the Spurs are really, really good still. I mean, they seem to just continue to plug in. It seems like that team, the players may change, but everybody just kind of fills a lot of the same roles. LaMarcus Aldridge is essentially Tim Duncan. Played 39 minutes, 37 points, 13 of 22, almost 60% from the field. Shot 18 free throws, 10 rebounds, 5 assists. He played really well and he'll likely be an all-star this year. I don't remember if he was last year, but I think LaMarcus Aldridge is probably an all-star this year. DeMar DeRozan, 32 points, 2 of 5 from 3. Only shot 37, almost 38% from the field, which is fine. But Bryn Forbes had a great night as a starting point guard now in place of the injured, what's his name? Their injured point guard whose name is escaping me right now. Patty Mills played well off the bench, 31 minutes, 12 points, 57% from the field, including a game winner in overtime. Marco Bellinelli is essentially Manu Ginobili off the bench. Patty Mills and him are just smart guys that they plug in off the bench, and those guys end up in late game situations just because they're smart. Their smarts and their ability to stretch the floor. Rudy Gay, who has potential to be an all-star, kind of just fills in that role of, he just scores, essentially. That's the majority of what he does. He shot 87% from the field last night, 2 of 3 from 3, 6 rebounds. They just get solid contributions. Rudy Gay is essentially, between him and DeMar DeRozan, they fill Kawhi Leonard's spot. It's amazing how DeMar DeRozan and Kawhi Leonard essentially just swapped. And then Bryn Forbes fills Danny Green's shooting. Rudy Gay adds some scoring. Dante Cunningham is kind of their garbage screener four that actually has the ability to stretch the floor and shoot threes pretty well. Was 1 of 1 last night from 3. At least he knows that he should probably only take 1 3. But just a really fun game to watch last night. I had goosebumps when LeBron hit the game tying 3. It was just really cool to see the Staples Center excited again, and just excited about a guy who I love to watch play. That was a really, really cool moment, and it would have been a really, really cool moment if he hit that game winner in overtime. It wasn't that far off, and it was a pretty good look at the basket. I think he was fading away a little bit, but it's not like he can't hit a fadeaway jump shot. So I think there's a lot of positive things to draw from the Lakers, even though they're 0-3. They're going to continue to play a couple more games with at least one of Lonzo or Kuzma starting. I think once Rondo is back, Lonzo won't start and Kuzma will, and hopefully Kuzma can continue to play really, really well. He was great last night. 37 points, 60% from the field, 4 of 10 from 3 is huge. They really need guys to be able to knock down threes. Caldwell Pope only had 4 points and kind of disappeared. Well, he didn't really play in the end of the game, probably only had 19 minutes. What are some other games from last night that I watched? There were 9 games in the league last night, and it's really, I almost feel bad that I can't watch all the games. I just wish that I could see them all, but I really can get to like 3, maybe 4 games a night, and then watch maybe the condensed version of some of the games. But I did watch the other overtime game, the Blazers and the Wizards. That was a really fun game to watch. Markieff Morris played really, really well last night. He's really evolved into he could potentially be an all-star over John Wall from this team. If this team were to take 2 to the all-star game, I think it's probably Bradley Beal. And as of right now, at least, it's Markieff Morris. He played 25 minutes, had 28 points, shot 60% from the field and 60% from 3, 6 of 10 from 3. And a lot of those, maybe 2 or 3 of those were down the stretch and in overtime. 9 rebounds. Markieff Morris was great last night. Otto Porter was really good too. Only had 16 points in 40 minutes and was 0 of 4 from 3, but 10 rebounds and had that key block he blocked Leonard's game winner attempt at a layup. But John Wall, again last night in a win, was just really unimpressive. 16 points in 41 minutes, 26% from the field, can't shoot a 3 to save his life. He was 0 of 2 for 3 and doesn't even look like he wants to take a jump shot from 15 feet. He's really, really kind of a predictable guard. As a defender, you really don't have to honor his 3. It's obviously not easy to guard him because of how explosive he is towards the basket. If you give him space, he just makes the space. He just kind of attacks you downhill. So you almost just have to guess, sort of. But for the most part, he's out of control. 9 assists and 4 turnovers is still more than 2-to-1 assist to turnover ratio, which is good. But I just don't see him as much of a leader as a point guard. And the way that Markieff Morris is playing, I think if this team gets 2 All-Stars, it's him and Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal was 10 of 25 from the field, 40% with 25 points, and 5 of 9, 55% from 3, 8 rebounds, 7 assists. Bradley Beal is the complete 2 guard. He is he is really fucking good. And I think he's got the body, the size, and the shooting ability to really be a star in this league. I think Bradley Beal is still relatively young. Yeah, he's 25. I think Bradley Beal has an extremely bright future once he can get out of playing with John Wall. I don't know what his contract situation is like, but if Bradley Beal went to LA next year, I would be such a happy person. That would be so awesome. How do I find out what contract Bradley Beal is in? He's in a 5-year contract, third year of a 5-year contract, and in 2021 he becomes an unrestricted free agent. So I think the Lakers would they would definitely have to probably give up too much to make a trade happen with Bradley Beal. So maybe my fantasy is not going to come true, but Bradley Beal is really fucking good at basketball. I really like him, and that just kind of follows the mold of these just quiet guys that kind of get the job done. Although when he hit a couple shots late, he was doing all the flexing, yelling, celebratory stuff that I'm not too fond of. But I think that his play at least backs it up for the most part. I don't have much of a problem with that kind of stuff, as long as your play backs it up, and I just don't think John Walls does. What else? What other games? Kyrie Irving played well. He looked like Kyrie Irving again last night, but in a loss to the Magic, which is, the Magic. There's been a decent amount of teams that you wouldn't really expect to be winning this many games early, or to be atop the standings, but the Magic. A couple others who I can't think of off the top of my head right now. You know what? Let me go to the standings and review the standings real quickly. So the Raptors are 4-0 atop the East, and Denver is 3-0 atop the West, followed by New Orleans 2-0 and Golden State 3-1. Milwaukee's 3-0. Detroit, that's a team that you wouldn't expect to be 2-0, but I don't think they've played very good teams. And then Orlando at 2-2. So yeah, Orlando last night in a low scoring game, beat the Magic, or they are the Magic, beat the Celtics. Kyrie was Kyrie again. And it's really fun to watch Kyrie play basketball when he's playing well. Jason Tatum had an off night, 7 points, 25% from the field, was 3 of 12, 0 of 5 from 3. Had 10 rebounds. Gordon Hayward shot the ball well. Al Horford was not his best, but he had a solid night. Was just very Al Horford-like. Jaylen Brown had a pretty bad night, 5 points, 22% from the field, 1 of 4 from 3. Kyrie Irving did a good load of the scoring, but in a loss again. It's the same thing in the West, that the final, these early games are really going to matter come down the stretch, because, and a lot of them are in conference games, but a loss to Orlando this early with such bad performances from Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are probably going to be really vital down the stretch, especially with the Raptors playing as well as they've been playing. They destroyed the Hornets 127-106. Kyle Lowry had 16 points and 14 assists. So Kyle Lowry continues to play really well. Kyrie's back on track, but maybe did it come to the detriment of Jaylen Brown not playing well and Jason Tatum not playing well? I didn't really watch much of that game. It sucks that I can't watch all these games. I really can only get to about 3 or 4 a night. What other games? Pacers and Timberwolves. Timberwolves win 101-91. The Mavericks beat the Bulls. The Jazz. Wow, the Jazz and the Grizzlies 92-84 is a really low scoring game for today's NBA. I looked at the box score earlier from the Jazz game, and Joe Ingles they all played really bad. Maybe that's what it was that I noticed, is that they just didn't play well. Ricky Rubio had 6 points, 12% from the field. Donovan Mitchell 14, Gobert 11, Favors 8, Ingles 9. Ingles is 1 of 7 from 3. So their best player, their leading scorer, was Jay Crowder with 15, shot 57% from the field, and 2 of 4 from 3. Exum only had 4 points in 13 minutes. Grayson Allen was their only positive plus-minus player, but he probably played all garbage time. Maybe there was no garbage time. Grayson Allen had 7 points off the bench in 10 minutes, and hit a 3. Another one I forgot to mention was Mo Bamba was scoreless in 19 minutes in that Orlando Celtics game, which sort of, I don't know. I haven't been too crazy about Mo Bamba. Oh, wow. The Celtics were 9 of 40 from 3-point range. That's not very good. Wow. But yeah, Mo Bamba didn't really play very well at all. No points, only 5 rebounds. The Bucks and the Knicks, the Bucks were up 20 at the half and almost blew the game. Giannis played really well though, and my buddy was actually at the game last night I believe that was their home opener in the new arena. Zach LaVine played really well for the Bulls, 34 points. Jabari Parker played well off the bench, 20 points, 57% from the field, was 2 of 3 from 3, only 3 rebounds. But Zach LaVine was really good, 11 of 15 from the field, 5 of 7 from 3. Okay, what else do I got? I think that about wraps it up. Steph was really good for the Warriors last night. The Warriors are just kind of the Warriors. Kevin Durant's pretty much unguardable. And the Suns aren't the greatest in the world. I think I'm about done for today. We've got 3 not very exciting games. 76ers without Ben Simmons against the Pistons, who are undefeated, I guess, in the East, but not a really intriguing game. Clippers, Pelicans will be fun just to watch. Anthony Davis. And, Kings, Nuggets isn't really a great matchup. So 3 not very good games, but I will watch all of them and I will give you a full breakdown. Hopefully I only have to record it one time. Thanks for listening. I can do anything.